Hello, sweet soul, and welcome to Brit's Bedtime Stories. Today I want to do something a little different. Instead of telling you a story, I wanted to tell you why this channel exists in the first place. Because if you've been here for a little while, you may have noticed something. This isn't just a bedtime story channel. It's not just a psychology channel. It's not just mindfulness. It's not just philosophy. And it's certainly not just a place to help people to fall to sleep. So, what is it? Well, to answer that question, I think we have to go back. Far back. Long before YouTube. Long before books. Long before psychology, neuroscience, or even written language. Imagine our ancestors gathered around a fire. There were no classrooms, no podcasts, no textbooks, and yet somehow generation after generation, people passed on wisdom. How? Well, they told stories. Stories taught children how to survive. Stories taught communities what courage looked like. Stories helped people make sense of grief, love, joy, loss, hope, and the mystery of being human. Even today, stories have an incredible way of staying with us. Most of us don't remember every fact we've ever learned. But we remember the stories that changed us. I think there's something deeply beautiful about that. Stories don't just tell us what to think. They invite us to feel. They invite us to imagine. Sometimes they even invite us to heal. That's why storytelling has always mattered to me. Not because it helps us escape reality, though that is fun to do, but because sometimes it helps us to return to ourselves. Now let's talk about psychology. I'll be honest. When many people hear the word psychology, they imagine something cold or clinical. But to me, psychology is simply the study of what it means to be human. Why do we think the way that we do? Why does anxiety make our hearts race? Why does heartbreak physically hurt? Why can childhood memories stay with us for decades? When we begin to understand these things, something remarkable happens. Shame often begins to soften. Instead of saying, "What's wrong with me?" we begin asking, "What happened to me?" Or, "What has my mind been trying to protect me from?" That shift doesn't solve everything, but it can be the beginning of treating ourselves with a little bit more compassion. You'll also hear me talk about mindfulness from time to time. Not because I think we should empty our minds. I don't think that's realistic. Thoughts are part of being human. Mindfulness to me is simply learning to notice our thoughts without believing every single one of them, which is sometimes hard to do. Because sometimes our minds tell us that we're failures. Sometimes they tell us that we'll never be enough. Sometimes they tell us we'll always be alone. Those thoughts can feel incredibly convincing. But feelings and thoughts aren't always facts. Creating a little space between ourselves and those thoughts and feelings can help us respond with greater clarity and kindness toward ourselves and others. You'll also hear me talk about our nervous systems. Over the last several years, researchers have learned so much about our bodies. We respond to stress and safety in certain ways, and when we're overwhelmed, it's not always because we're weak. And sometimes our nervous system is doing exactly what it evolved to do: protect us. And that's one reason I speak slowly in many of my videos. Why the music is gentle. Why I often invite you to breathe. Not because a single video can solve all of life's challenges, but because small moments of calm do matter. Sometimes the most healing thing we experience all day is simply feeling safe enough to exhale. And then there's community. This might actually be the part that means the most to me. One of the hardest parts of being human, especially when you're an introvert, is believing we're the only one who feels the way that we do. Anxiety tells us we're alone. Grief tells us no one understands. Shame tells us to hide. But then someone leaves a comment saying, "I thought I was the only one." Those moments matter, because healing has rarely been a completely solitary experience. Throughout history, people healed in families, in friendships, in communities, around fires and tables and meals, through songs, through stories, through being witnessed. I'm not saying an online community replaces therapy, medical care, or the support of loved ones in person. That's extremely important to have. But I do believe kindness does matter. Feeling understood matters. Knowing you're not alone matters. And if this little corner of the internet can help someone feel just a little less isolated, then I think that that's something worth building together. You may have noticed that this channel has different kinds of videos. That's intentional as well. Sometimes you need a bedtime story. Sometimes you need a 5-minute reminder that you're gonna be okay. Sometimes you're curious about psychology, and sometimes you just wonder about consciousness, the universe, or what it means to exist at all. Different paths, but I hope they all lead to the same place. A little more peace, with a little more self-understanding. A little more compassion. So, what is Brit's Bedtime Stories? To me, it's a place where stories and science can sit beside one another, where psychology meets wonder, where curiosity is welcomed, where kindness is expected, where it's okay to not have everything figured out, where healing isn't a destination, but a lifelong practice of returning to yourself one gentle step at a time. And finally, I want to say something to every single person watching this. Whether you've been here since the beginning, or this is your very first video of me that you've seen, thank you. not just for watching, but for the kindness you leave in the comments, for encouraging other strangers, other sweet souls, for sharing your stories, and for reminding people they've made it through another day. You're helping create something much bigger than a YouTube channel. You're helping create a place where people can arrive exactly as they are. No masks, no pretending, no pressure to be perfect. Just human beings reminding one another that none of us has to carry life completely alone. If that's the kind of community that you've been searching for, then sweet soul, welcome home. I'll see you in the next story. Sleep well and be gentle with yourself. Thank you for being here.